Elaine or Jaylo?
Elaine.
How's it going, babes?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good this morning. I got
good.
some interesting news last night, right as we were getting ready for bed. Checked my phone and saw that they are indeed going to be having the Blues Fest this year.
Yes.
But it's going to be a little bit different. Instead of just like gathering crowds of people, which I prefer,
I do too.
You rent pods for the day and stay in there. There's only 2 stages. They haven't released all the details, but I'm assuming as soon as one performance ends, another one will begin.
Yeah.
It's not ideal.
No, because I'd rather walk around the stages. Like if I didn't want to hear this performance, I could go to a different one. I don't know.
Having said that, it's much better than nothing. And I think I'm going to take what I can get this year.
Yeah, you kind of have to take what they offer.
I don't know if I'm going to go the full time because you usually only like to do one day.
I do.
And it seems like it would be pretty lonely in a pod by myself. Plus, I could listen. I don't know. This is the one year where there's an interesting argument to be made for listening to it on the radio.
Yeah, but it nothing compares to actually hearing it live and dancing. You know, whether you're in a pod or not, which I think it's going to be interesting. It's like we're in little huts, right?
Something like that.
You know, I just imagine like we're in these little rooms and we're watching the stage from wherever we are.
Yeah.
And it's like, I would imagine that there's a way to see it. Well, it's kind of hard for us because you have limited vision, and I want to make sure that, I can't see anything, but I also want to make sure I hear.
Yes, of course. I think you'll be able to hear it just fine.
Okay. It's gonna be different, but you know what? If we can get at least one kind of live music in this year, then I would be happy.
I would too.
I cannot wait though until parks fully open and we can actually like sit down and hear or stand up and hear live music as it is there, as it's supposed to be.
Did you know, babes, that there was a discussion about a week and a half ago about opening up city parks to homeless camps?
Oh, that's not good.
It failed, but it would have devastated the city, I think.
I would agree with you. I would absolutely agree with you. I don't think the solution is to have encampments everywhere, including parks.
Pick specific areas, because you know what that means. Families aren't going to want to go to those parks.
No. And especially if there's homeless people that have drug problems, right? You don't want to be in a park where there's a bunch of needles around. I don't know.
I completely feel like that was a very stupid idea, and I'm glad it did not get approval.
Yeah, did you hear about how homeless people were allowed to stay in hotels?
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I did hear that story.
But then I heard that as a result of that, hotels have been really, really trashed.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me. I don't think it's a temporary solution, but that's just it. It's temporary. It's not fixing anything. I don't think that was a good idea to use a park as a homeless encampment. It's just not a good idea.
No, babe, it was.
No, not at all.
But
not at all. But
in any event, I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
You asked right before we started this, was I on Clubhouse when you were taking a shower? And I did go on, but it was only to add information about the next documentary night. Because me and a group of friends host a room each week where we talk about different documentaries.
Yeah.
And next week it's going to be a film that I chose called Sun Ra, Brother from Another Planet.
Yeah.
Which is from the BBC. I believe it came out in 2005.
Yeah, I saw clips of him when I took this history of jazz class, and he is definitely out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's long gone now, right?
I want to say he died in the late 90s.
Okay. Yeah, that was, I remember seeing a clip of him, and I'm like, yeah, this guy is really out there. But I think he was a part of the avant-garde jazz part of it. I think.
That would be a good way of saying it.
Yeah, avant-garde. And I'm not a fan of avant-garde, honestly.
I don't know. Sometimes it's done well, but usually it's just an excuse to jam for a long period of time. And
I mean, sometimes it can work like Ornette Coleman, right? You heard of him?
I have.
Ornette Coleman? very good trumpet player, I believe. His stuff sounds a little bit out there, but it's not to the point where you're just like, I don't understand what this is. It works for him. I can't remember what style he's a part of. What if it's bebop or I cannot remember. But I liked his stuff sounded slightly off, but for good reason. And even Thelonious Monk, who is not a part of the avant-garde scene, his musical notation was like, sometimes it sounded like he was playing wrong chords or what, but it worked for him. It really did. But, yeah, avant-garde jazz is kind of an acquired taste, I think.
I would agree.
Yeah.
This morning, we have been singing that song, You Belong to Me, from the film The Jerk.
Yeah, Tonight You Belong to Me.
Yes.
You Belong to Me is a different song.
Sorry about that. Tonight You Belong to Me.
Yes.
I really like the Steve Martin, Bernadette Peters version of the song.
Yes.
Even though I know it was done earlier than that.
Yes, it was. And I actually, while you were in the living room, the group who did it were a sister duo named Patience and Prudence. And that really is her name, by the way. And their father, Mark McIntyre, was like an orchestra director, I think. And he took them to a studio and they recorded that song in the 50s. I think it was.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Patience was 14 and Prudence was 11. And they were able to harmonize. And I thought, oh, they sound really young. And I was right.
That's a great song.
Yes, it is.
I want to learn how to play that on the piano. Not the piano, but the guitar.
The guitar.
Yes.
It would sound really cool. It would be really cool to play it on the uke, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you will. So that's something to possibly look forward to.
Yes.
Yes. Some good stuff happening, babes.
Like.
Yes. Jaylo.
Yeah.
Yesterday, you wanted to watch an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Yes. That was interesting.
Tell me more.
Well, basically, it was about, I think there were a group of men, a father and son, and then there were, I think there was like a couple other men that were kidnappers.
Do you want me to give a brief recap?
Yes, but I was trying to explain the premise. It's what happens when you're in the desert without water. Am I right?
Pretty much.
Okay.
There's more to it than that.
There is more to it, but I think I'm going to let you give the recap.
This one had a young Burt Reynolds. Him and his dad are truck drivers. They're having issues with the vehicle. They stop. The other guys come by and need help. Take some water. Burt Reynolds tries to repair their car. Notices that there's a lady in there who's been kidnapped. The kidnappers basically decide that, okay, we're going to steal your guys' truck and drive off. Burt Reynolds' dad really knows the desert well. Yeah. So at night, he walks, gets help, and everybody's saved who is a good person. They go along, they discover the truck, and find out that the kidnappers basically ended up killing themselves over water, if I remember correctly.
Yes, right. One of them was dead. I think it was like the one guy that was the leader of the two kidnappers. Right?
Yeah.
One of them was dead, and then you found out later on that the dumb guy was dead.
So they were both dead.
They were both dead.
Like you said.
Right.
What does this teach us about greed and resources?
Well, I think that if you're running out of something as essential as water, because we all need water, our bodies are made out of water, people could go to great lengths for water, including killing each other for it. And we know this because of the two kidnappers that killed each other.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to do a recap on a half-hour episode.
It is, yeah.
Especially since we never see any of these characters again.
Yeah, and wasn't there a scene where they find water in the radiator of the truck?
They find it, I believe, in the car.
Yep.
the dad knows that the car's going to have water and that it's not going to taste good, but he can use it to go on foot and survive when he gets help.
Yeah, and you said that by nightfall it will cool off and it will be drinkable. But right now it's not good because it's hot water.
Yes.
Yeah. But
it was an interesting show.
Yes, it was.
I need to watch more of the Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
I kind of like when he is... remember when he was drawing like a map of people in the desert.
He was drawing on a map of the U.S.
Yeah, the U.S., yeah. And there was like a weather girl next to him, right?
Yeah, he has a cool sense of humor.
It's really funny. There was one, I can't remember what episode it was, but there was one episode where he was reading a piece of mail and I think the person was critiquing him and then he crumples up the mail and says, okay, I think we're going to go on to our story. Something like that. I thought that was really funny.
Nice.
In his own British way, you know.
In a way, you could say that Tales from the Crypt took something from Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Yes, but I think Tales from the Crypt is much darker, and I didn't really watch it. I watched one episode on YouTube, and that was creepy. That was a creepy episode.
Mm-hmm.
It was called The Executioner, and that was creepy.
Yes, we've talked about that before here, I believe.
Yes, I believe I told you that once at least.
Yes.
But I didn't watch a lot of Tales from the Crypt. I know that they did an animated series for kids.
I heard about that show, but that sounded very strange to me.
Yeah, I didn't get into that.
Do you know the premise of it?
It was just like basically scary stories.
So it wasn't like the Crypt Keeper and his friends on the football team or anything?
So I think in the cartoon series, it's somewhat like the series on TV, except it's made for kids. That's what I gather.
I enjoyed Tales from the Crypt for what it was. It wasn't my favorite show, but it was fun.
I'm sure the Crypt Keeper looked really weird.
Yes, like a goblin almost.
Ugh.
Tales from the Crypt.
Yes, and that really awful cackle he had.
Did I freak you out last night when we're getting ready for bed? You're in the bedroom and I come in doing my Robert Stack impression.
We joked about that. I said, I have a fear that somebody with a really scary, deep voice will come and hover over my bed and say something.
Yes.
Or they'll quote like a lines from a scary PSA or something. Or they'll say, if you have any information on blah, 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 call 1-800-CRIME-STOPPERS or 1-800 or 1-866. What is it?
Oh, I don't want to say just in case I get the number wrong. I think I know what it is. I know the last 4 digits were like 5353.
Oh, that just scares me.
But the 866 thing may be incorrect. So.
Might be 1-800.
Yeah, I guess it's been years since I've seen it.
Oh, no. That scares me. That really scares me.
I almost thought of playing the Unsolved Mysteries music early this morning and getting up, touching your face, and doing my Robert Stack impression.
Don't do that.
But that could have been a step too far.
You'll send me running away.
Uh-oh.
Get out! Leave me alone. You're not Rick. You're just some scary person. No, that would freak me out though. That really would.
Mm-hmm. Last time we recorded,
we
were having trouble remembering the name of the films we watched.
Yes, but now it has come to memory, and we are more awake this morning. So
I was awake yesterday. You were like, "What are we doing?"
I was really tired.
I noticed. Yes, I was giving you some A material to work with, and you're just like, "Okay, moving on."
Oh, stop it! I wasn't on my A game. Let's just say.
No. And there are days that I'm off too.
Yeah, I remember that one day.
What one day?
That one day where I think we were discussing, I can't remember what movie it was, but you said, you know what, I think we should wrap this up because I'm about ready to fade, and I'm afraid that if I get tired, I'm not gonna sound very good.
I don't recall that, but I'll take your word for it.
Oh, it's in our archives.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're going to listen to it after this.
No, not after that.
Okay.
I don't remember which episode it was.
Nice. In any event, we did watch The Public Enemy, which is a film I've heard about for years, but the movie just didn't do it for me.
It didn't do it for me either. I just didn't get it. I did not get it. Would you like to give a brief recap?
I'll give a very brief description of this movie.
Okay.
Starts off, it's telling the story of James Cagney and how he got into crime. We see flashbacks to the year 1909, which is only about 22 years before this movie actually came out. So it's interesting reflection of the time, right? Mm-hmm. And he starts off as this little kid. He's this criminal. It goes through the years. He does more crimes. Then eventually he is rising up in the underworld, right? Mm-hmm. But there's issues at home. His brother, who's a bit older than him, goes to serve, I believe, in World War One. So he comes back. There's this confrontation at the dinner table. Mm-hmm. I think it's James Cagney gets more into crime and eventually ends up getting killed at the end of the movie. There's not a lot here. I was expecting so much more.
I was too, and I wanted to know why. How did he end up? Obviously he was murdered, but why? Why did it have to end like that? I don't know. It just seemed like there were so many things missing to me, and I just didn't get it.
Do you think that this film is considered a classic because people in 1931 were a lot dumber, or because there just weren't that many good films being made at the time?
Well, I think some people like these kinds of obscure films, whether they're gangster films or not, and maybe there's something about the gangsters in 1931, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people talk about that and how glamorous it seems or whatever it is. I don't know. But
I believe it was popular when it came out.
Yeah. Maybe it's just that some people like what they liked. It's not so much. There's no explanation required. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I see it.
Do you often wonder what it would be like to go to a movie theater in 1931?
I kind of do. Didn't they used to call them a long time ago picture shows?
I believe so.
Yeah. So when I was a kid, I didn't know what a picture show was, obviously, and I thought, what is a picture show? Do they just show pictures of things? But apparently, it's supposed to be a movie, and yeah, I kind of wondered that too. How different were they?
My mom used to work with the elderly. Mm-hmm. So, as a kid in the, let's say, early to mid-90s, yeah. I talked to some older people who were maybe in their 90s at the time.
Right.
And who knows, people like to romanticize the past and all that stuff. But they told me stories about when they were kids and would go to the movie theater, there'd be a piano player who'd take requests before the shows and interact with the audience.
That's awesome.
And then oftentimes they'd show 2 movies instead of 1, and it was like a nickel.
Wow.
But this is in the 1920s.
And they probably didn't have food at the theaters.
That's a good question. I don't know. I never asked them. You're probably right.
They may not have been. I mean, the concession stands probably started a lot later.
It's possible. I should know the history of that, but I don't.
That's okay.
Yeah. Maybe after World War II they became more prominent.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that. I don't know.
Well, because that's when the Paramount decree came out in 1948 saying that movie studios could no longer own theaters. At least not in large numbers. You could have one here or there.
Yeah.
But you couldn't have a monopoly on the industry.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. And they actually reversed that at the end of 2019.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but movie studios are not going to get into the theater business.
Right.
In a serious way.
Right.
I'd be shocked if that happens.
Yeah, as would I.
Yes. Well, good. I'm glad we're on the same page.
But that's it. That's really interesting. I know that, I don't know if it's in silent movies or not, but I've heard stories about piano players, playing, well, maybe not so much in the movie theaters. I didn't know about the movie theater thing, but I heard that piano players were prominent in comedy acts.
Yes.
Right. So
vaudeville era.
Right. I thought, that is kind of cool that there was piano players. There were pianists in the movie theaters. Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
I've also often wondered to myself, what would our society look like if we had movie cameras like 100 years earlier?
I don't know. That would be strange.
Mm-hmm.
For them.
Well, for us too, because we'd have films to look back on that were even older. We might even be able to watch Abraham Lincoln give the Gettysburg Address. It's possible that would have inspired them to come up with ways to capture sound earlier.
Right.
Or make TV.
Right.
Could you imagine seeing a sitcom from the 1850s?
Oh, that would be weird.
Yes.
Really strange. Yeah. I mean, the 1950s is one thing, but the 1850s...
That would probably definitely be banned by today's society.
Yeah, they probably would.
Yes.
I think you're right.
Jaylo.
Yes.
You and I both want to call this episode The Most Dangerous Jaylo. Because the other film we watched was The Most Dangerous Game, I believe from 32 or 33.
Somewhere around there. I can't remember exactly what it was. It might have been 1931.
Something like
32. Anyway, so I didn't realize until I heard the characters' names that I actually read the book. Well, rather, my English teacher in high school read us the book. And it wasn't a very long story, but it was really interesting. So the premise is that there are two hunters. One is Robert Rainsford, who hunts game, animals, and Zoroff, who's a very strange man that hunts humans instead of animals, and that's why Zoroff calls humans the most dangerous game.
Would you like to give more of the movie? Or?
So, let's see.
Or I could give an overview.
Here, I'll let you give an overview, and I'll chime in.
Nice. Basically, Robert, last name is... Rainsford is coming back from an expedition in a boat. There's an accident. Most of the people die, and he ends up on this island. Rainsford is walking around, sees a house, goes up to it. It's really nice. And a mute... Is that the proper term?
Yes, a mute. His assistant is a mute.
He answers the door, goes in, and he meets Zoroff.
Yeah.
Who seems like a cool guy, very rich, elegant, says, okay, go upstairs to this room, chill out for a little while, and then come join me and my guests for dinner.
And there are, yes, that's right. And he settles in, and he meets a brother and sister. I forgot what their last name was.
But they were fun to watch. The brother is really drunk.
Really drunk.
And the sisters is kind of there. Yeah. Zoroff explains that Rainsfield is famous because of his hunting books. And Zoroff has read all of his writings, is a big fan, and is into hunting himself. Mm-hmm. But he realized that there was no longer any excitement. Yep. So Zoroff came to this island to hunt a unique species that would be fun. And he thought Rainsfield would get a kick out of hearing about later on.
Yeah, and meanwhile the brother's getting very drunk.
Yes. Very,
very drunk, and they're not catching on yet.
Rainsfield is talking to the sister, kind of hanging out. They go to bed. The drunk, obnoxious brother's still hanging out with Zoroff.
They're drinking.
Yeah.
And Zoroff offers him to go with him to his trophy room.
Later on that night, the girl, I believe, goes into Rainsford's room. Rainsford's room.
Yes.
They go downstairs to the trophy area right before Zoroff comes back with something that looks like a body.
Yes.
They check. It's the dead brother.
Oh, yeah.
And Zoroff says, well, we gave him some time to run. And, you know, he sobered up after spending some time here in the trophy room and seeing all the dead bodies. So what I want to do for you, Rainsfield, is you're going to have something like 23 hours, starting at 7 and going until 6 the next morning. If y'all survive, you get to leave the island.
And I have to mention, too, because you forgot this, before Zoroff tells Robert Rainsford what he wants him to do, they do notice they do notice skulls on the wall.
Yes.
Human skulls.
In any event, the hunt starts. Everybody survives. Zoroff thinks that he gets away with killing Rainsford.
Yep.
Rainsford goes off this fall area with a dog that I think may be a pit bull. I'm not sure.
Right.
But Rainsford survives, comes back to the house. There's some commotion. He eventually escapes with the girl on a boat, and they leave the islands.
Yeah, basically, Rainsford does end up killing Zoroff.
Yes.
And stealing the keys to his boathouse.
And leaving.
Well, actually, no. Actually, I take that back. Zoroff knew that Rainsford beat him and gave him the keys to the boathouse. So he...
No, he didn't.
Really?
No, remember they come back? There's that fight that they had?
No, but remember, you're forgetting something. Zoroff said that he won, right?
Yeah.
He won and said, "Well, you beat me, so I will give you the keys to my boathouse."
He gave him the keys, but it's not like he was going to let him escape. He was still trying to kill him.
True, but Rainsford, of course, as we both know, killed him before Zoroff could kill anyone else.
Yes.
And the girl does survive.
I would give this movie a strong 7.
I would too.
I thought it was a lot of fun. It's only about 68 minutes long. It's very short.
It's a lot of stuff in there, though.
But yeah, they put many, many things in here. Really cool movie.
Yes.
I want to know from you.
Yes.
What does Zoroff teach us about overindulgence?
I don't know if the word is overindulgence. I think the word would be unsatisfaction or whatever it is, right? Because remember, it seemed like he wasn't excited anymore about shooting animals, hunting for wild game, right? And are you talking about overindulgence in what sense?
Well, instead of just quitting hunting after he gets bored with killing other animals, he decides to buy an island, basically reset things. I'm not going to use the right terminology, but it's discovered that he makes it look like waters are safer than they actually are. Yeah. So sailors go in the current and get stuck on the islands.
Yes. And
hunt humans.
Right.
To me, that strikes me as being overly indulgent.
Okay, I understand. Like he's overly obsessed with it. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and he has the money because he had a rich dad that he can pursue this stuff. Yes.
Well, I think it says a lot. He's just never he was never satisfied. And I don't know, I could be completely wrong about it, but you get the sense that Zoroff always got what he wanted. Until he was killed. Mm-hmm. He got what he wanted, he schemed to get what he wanted. There's a reason why people ended up on his wall, and he was beat at his own game by Rainsford.
Are there any lessons to be learned by Zoroff?
Don't go to his house.
Okay.
You won't survive it. You won't survive the night. You don't even know what kind of food he serves.
What? Yeah, exactly. What does the drunk brother teach us about letting our guard down?
That alcohol can quickly let your guard down to the point to where you don't know what you're going to find in Zoroff's trophy room until you finally meet your demise.
It's great. He's great comic relief.
He's so funny. I mean, he was talking with a slur.
Yes.
He was just excited to be around Zoroff, it sounds like. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, cool, I get to hang out with you. Awesome. Yeah. Stay away from Zoroff's trophy room, too.
Well, yeah, if you want to live.
If you want to live, yeah.
I wonder how much of this character was inspired by H.H. Holmes, who was a famous serial killer in the U.S. back in the day. Because, I don't know, from what I heard, he was supposed to seem very eloquent and an interesting man, and then he would just like torture people, right?
Well, the same question would be asked too of other serial killers like Ted Bundy, right? How he used his charm to get women.
Right, but Ted Bundy wasn't born until like 14 years after this movie came out.
No, I understand that.
So I don't think he inspired this film.
No, I understand that, but I'm thinking about serial killers in general.
Okay.
Not just H.H. Holmes.
Okay.
Which I don't know much about, but you said you read a book about him.
I've read a couple books about him.
Yeah.
In any event, that's the reason I brought up him and not Ted Bundy.
Okay.
And I don't really know what this film teaches us about serial killers, only because it was written in a time where we knew so little about them.
Very true.
You know.
Very true.
What does Rainsford?
Yes.
What does he teach us about working with the resources you have and being a professional?
You know what he kind of reminded me of?
Who?
He kind of reminded me of MacGyver. Now, I vaguely remember MacGyver, but what I do remember is that he used his resources to make makeshift things to carry out whatever he was doing.
I have not seen MacGyver.
Okay.
I know of it. I've just never watched it.
Yeah. It's a very popular show in the 80s.
A little bit before my time.
It wasn't that much before your time. You weren't like 10 years younger than me or something.
But it was still in your time, so I'm glad you got to watch
Bubs.
it. What?
Well, our times are overlapping. It wasn't that long ago.
We are of different generations, though, and we've discussed this before.
We crossed over into each other's generations.
You were alive when my generation started.
Oh, whatever. Bubs, we're not going to get into that.
Okay.
You're making me sound older than I am.
That's all I didn't know. You are older than me.
By 2.5 years, Bubs.
But that's different generations. And we were made in different decades.
Oh, no, we were not.
Okay, babes.
We were not.
Okay. I love you.
I was only alive in the 70s for 3 months, Bubs. 3 months.
Oh, you were alive in the 70s.
3 months.
Okay,
3
babes,
months.
okay.
I don't even remember it.
Alana believes...
Bubs, come on. Are we going to do this?
Yes, because next week we're going to be doing a birthday show. And it's going to sound weird if we say your age and you were alive in the 70s without explaining it.
Okay, let me explain this because I think I should correct anyone who might think differently about this. I was growing in my mother's womb in the 70s, but it was only for 3 months, and I was born in April in 1980.
But
Bubs, come on.
you do believe that life begins...
Yes, I
at the
do.
moment
I
of
remember it.
conception. All right, stop. I don't believe human life begins then, but that's okay.
Yeah, but who are you to say that it doesn't?
I said I don't believe. That doesn't mean I know for sure.
Do you know there have been studies that show that heartbeats actually start a lot sooner in the mother's womb. So like after a certain length of weeks, not even like 2 months, you can find growth of a fetus.
Here's an interesting question for you.
Yes.
Women are not supposed to have abortions, according to you.
Oh, they shouldn't.
Okay. There is this thing called spontaneous abortion. And it's not when you're having a slice of pizza with your partner and you see an abortion clinic and you just decide, you know what? I think I'll wait another year for this kid. Sorry, that was a dumb joke. That did not land.
No, it didn't.
Okay. And the idea is your body will often reject a fetus. And sometimes, actually more often than not, it'll happen before a woman even knows she's pregnant. So, my question to you is, let's say a woman has...
Are you talking about miscarriages?
They're called miscarriages, other people call them spontaneous abortions. My question to you, babes, is, let's say a woman has 6 miscarriages, but she doesn't even know about them because they happen so early in the pregnancy.
I wouldn't count them as abortions.
Okay.
I wouldn't count them as abortions because when I think of a woman committing an act of abortion, they're willfully committing that act, and it's not... They're willfully inflicting the abortion on that child, but if the body... either has a miscarriage, I wouldn't consider that murder.
So she's not going to go to hell. At least not for that.
Not for that.
Okay.
No, that she cannot help it. If her body isn't able to carry a baby, literally physically carry a baby, that's not her fault.
Oh. Well, good, babe.
Because some people have a couple miscarriages before they're able to have, they're able to give birth to a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I know of more than one woman who has had at least a couple of miscarriages before they actually got pregnant and carried their baby to term.
Oh, and they're not going to hell.
No, not for that.
Okay, good. For other stuff, but they're still going to end up there, but not.
Bubs.
What?
You be nice.
Oh, I didn't know.
I'll pinch your nose.
Oh, I'm going to tell you.
Nose.
We're talking about the most dangerous Jaylo.
Yes. I don't think I'm dangerous.
But the movie it's based on.
But the movie, but this movie is really good. My like I said, my English teacher read the book, and I'm glad I saw the movie because I really think it does follow the book. Although I don't remember the girl in the book, but that's the only thing I don't remember, the girl and her brother.
They always like to make it more Hollywood.
Yeah, I don't believe there. Yeah, if I remember correctly, I don't believe that the woman and her brother were in the book.
It's rare when a movie doesn't have some sort of a love story.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it when it happens, but it really stands out. Like in Shawshank, there's no love story.
There's definitely no love story, but I think it's implied that Rainsford and the woman are love interests.
Yep.
Yeah.
They go bow, bow, bow.
No, they don't.
Not in the movie, but we're led to.
Where does that tune come from anyway?
I don't know. Probably some 70s porno movie or something.
How would you know? You never watched it.
I've seen porno movies, but I don't make a habit of watching them.
Uh-oh.
Well, back in the day, babes.
Oh my goodness.
I think the last time was...
Okay.
What?
Seriously?
What?
Are we going to talk about
Do you want
this?
me to be honest, or do you want me to lie to you?
No, I'm not saying change what you remember, but it's like, want to go here?
No, because it's honest. I think it was 2007 going into 2008. It was like New Year's Eve, and I downloaded this porn from LimeWire.
Whoa! How did you find it?
I forgot what I probably just typed in porn and downloaded the first thing. And it was this blonde lady sucking this.
Okay.
All right, what?
I don't need to know details.
Okay, all right. That was the last one I watched.
Okay, that's nice.
I'm like, okay, whatevs.
Whatever.
But I mean, I've watched stuff that's borderline since then.
Oh, okay.
As far as actual pornos, that's what I've seen.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that people should feel so repressed that they can't talk about that stuff.
But here?
Yeah, why not?
Bubs. There's just some things I don't need to know details about, Bubs. You're a little too graphic for my taste.
See, that didn't seem that graphic to me.
Yeah, it is.
Was it? No, yeah, I think it was 2007 going into 2008. New Year's Eve. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm glad you know that about me. Jaylo.
That and so much more.
Oh my goodness. Well, at least I'm honest, babes.
Yeah.
To a fault.
Yeah, to default.
Oh, what is?
And to a fault.
Oh my goodness. I thought the Bible says don't lie, babes.
Well, that's different, Bubs. There's a difference between lying and being way brutally honest.
Oh.
And no filter.
Okay. I do have a filter.
You do have a filter, and I think you have more of a filter than some.
Yes.
Some people just will not shut up.
I know.
Yeah.
Moving on, Jaylo.
Moving on.
We watched episode 1 of the Ken Burns series on the Civil War, which doesn't really
good.
Talk about the war itself as much as about the history of the West.
Yeah. What I liked about this, because I wasn't sure what to expect, because this is like the first, well, no, I take that back. I watched a little bit of the country documentary with you. Mm-hmm. Really good so far. But this is the first I've ever watched of a Civil War, a Civil War documentary with Ken Burns, and I have to say I'm really impressed, actually.
I'm glad. He's such a good filmmaker.
I'm impressed because I was thinking to myself, oh, are we only going to see like one side of the story? Or is he going to look at both sides and say, well, people think this, but actually this is really what happened, as far as this is how people perceived it. This is how they lived. And I'm glad that he did that, because it really makes you appreciate both sides of the narrative.
They talked to one lady who was a Native American, and I forgot what tribes he said she came from.
Yeah.
It might have been the Lakota. Oh, was it? I forget. But she said 4 generations ago, if my man would have killed somebody in battle, I would be expected to cut off that person's arms and legs and bring them around during the nighttime on the stick as celebration.
Wow.
And by putting it in that context, by just saying 4 generations ago, that really makes you think.
It does.
You know.
Yeah, it does. Wow.
Yes.
So in her culture, you mean, right?
Yes.
They would have to do that. They would have to pretty much dismember a person and put them on a stick.
Yeah, and keep in mind this interview was shot probably in the late 80s.
Wow.
But, you know, still, it's, and we're assuming it's long generations, not just 20 years. It's like a lifetime of a person.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah. And it was interesting about how, what happened with, Devaca, who is a missionary, and when he went to Mexico, and how people were treated by the Spaniards, and, but again, I mean, I liked how he looked at both sides of the coin, like the missionaries were, that were with Devaca were actually treated really well, and some of them were accepted. So it wasn't all horrible. It wasn't all horrible. Mm-hmm. And even before, white people came, white settlers came to America, it wasn't all good either. So I thought that was really good that he explained, or rather, the people in the documentary explained it that way. So you're looking at both sides of the aisle.
That's great, babe.
So I was really impressed, actually. Yes. Yeah. Very, very impressed.
I'm glad you're liking it.
Yes.
Jaylo.
Yes.
You and I decided to make Asian noodles last night.
It was really good.
You liked it?
Yes.
Good.
But I do agree. I think we should have cooked them in sesame oil. Because I didn't even think about getting that.
I should have told you.
Yeah.
Because that's how I usually do it with rice and noodles.
And they were good. It's just they were missing something.
Also, I tend to do it on cast iron when you can cook it at higher heats.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I don't have a cast iron skillet.
That's white Jaylo.
I don't. But cast iron skillets are they're easy to work with oil and stuff, yeah.
It's so funny, when you were starting the chopping process,
yes,
I was going on Clubhouse into this book discussion group that I'm usually a part of. Mm-hmm. And talking with them for a minute. And the host brings me up, and we kind of talk a little bit outside the Clubhouse, just on Instagram. We're not like besties or anything. I don't want to get that impressive, but we'll exchange messages. So she brings me up and she's like, Rick, I thought you were with your girlfriend today. I said, well, actually, I am, and I'm supposed to help chop vegetables. We were listening to Lionel Richie yesterday, so I said, if you hear any Lionel Richie in the background, that's what's up. And then I gave her my book recommendation and said, okay, really I need to be one of those guys who just talks and leave, but I'm going to be like that today.
That's really funny.
Yes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I can hear that all the way from the kitchen.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I can hear you all the way from the kitchen, too, okay?
Yes, but my voice doesn't carry.
What else?
I was chopping. How could you hear me chopping all the way from...
No, I mean when you're talking.
Well, Bubs,
what?
Your voice is booming, though.
That's a good thing, babes.
Yeah, in some ways it is. I can pick you out from a crowd.
Oh my goodness, I can pick you out too, okay.
Buzz, my voice isn't nearly as loud as yours.
Oh, I picked it for... I do have a loud voice.
No, Bubs, your voice is louder than mine.
No, my voice is definitely loud. I will admit that, but so is yours.
Loud enough for you to hear me, but yours is really loud, Bubs.
No, you definitely have a louder voice.
No, I don't.
Yes.
Bubs, you haven't even proved that to me. How could you say that I have a louder voice when clearly your voice is, like, booming?
It's not much louder than mine, and I do have a loud voice, but it doesn't mean that you have this.
No, Bubs, my voice is loud enough for you to hear, but it's not super loud like this.
Oh. I don't know, babes.
I mean, I could hear you with the door closed.
Oh, it is.
No, like, I seriously. Now, I'm not going to tell you, like some people have to bring down your volume, but it is loud.
Oh my God, that was so awkward. I'm on this date with this friend of Alana's. This was before we started dating.
Or so-called date, yeah.
And she's like, Rick, could you do me a favor? Could you bring your voice down? Thinking to myself, this is how I talk. One time, babe, I was talking to this lady who happens to have a hearing impairment.
Uh-huh.
And I knew her from around the way.
Yeah.
One day she tells me, just so you know, you don't have to speak louder just for me.
Well,
I don't.
You do naturally tend to speak loud, though.
But that's just the way I am, babes.
Yeah, I understand.
If you buy into Rick, you get this with it. But maybe I'll start that.
No, you don't tell like a librarian. I'm just saying I can hear you.
Yes.
You don't really have to project so loud, but I understand.
It's a natural thing, babe.
But I understand that you, well, let me ask you a question. When you were growing up, and if you remember this, like when you were much younger, did your voice have, did your voice naturally project loud, or was it? Wow. Really?
Yes.
Okay. I do like your deep voice, though.
Thank you.
Thank you. It sounds very manly.
Yes. I recommended the book, The Art of Worldly Wisdom by Balthazar Gracian. Uh-huh. And I also told the story about how I discovered it. Mm-hmm. In 2006, I read The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. And if you've ever experienced the book, there's a lot of different really cool quotes in it. I noticed that a lot of them were from this book called The Art of Worldly Wisdom. So finally, this is like, 6 or 7 months after I read the book, I go down to the Bemis Library, which is in Denver, Colorado, and got a copy of the book, discovered that it was a book of affirmations, and I read it, and I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. That's how I discovered The Art of Worldly Wisdom. How do you feel about that?
I have no comment.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not really into the self-help stuff.
This book is like several hundred years old, so it's not like Tony Robbins self-help. No,
but it is, you have to admit it, in some ways it's kind of in that genre, right?
It is, but it's not like a modern day version of, you know what I mean?
I mean, The Art of Seduction is kind of like that. I mean, I don't know.
I think that Robert Greene makes self-help books for cynical people.
Okay.
And you're just like, what do you have?
Yeah. I can kind of understand why. Mm-hmm. Well, The Art of Seduction, for sure, there are some pieces in there that are, kind of making some points about what to watch for if you are a seductive person in your own way, or watching out for a seductive person.
And there's all these different personality types.
Right, and I thought that's kind of interesting.
I do think you'd like The Art of Worldly Wisdom. Hold on, I gotta see.
Bless you.
Thank you. That came on out of nowhere.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes it happens to me too. I just, all of a sudden I would just take a breath and then, thank you.
Yes, yes.
It's like, sheesh. I didn't even have a lot of time to breathe.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But it feels good.
Oh my goodness. Babes.
Yes.
We watched some Alfred Hitchcock movies last night.
Yes, we did.
Starting with Strangers on a Plane. On a Train.
On a Plane. Yeah. That was a really good movie, but one of the main characters was really, really creepy.
Bruno Anthony.
Yes. Bruno Anthony, who meets, what's that guy's name?
He meets a guy named Guy.
Guy Haynes.
Guy Haynes.
And he finds out on the train. So they meet each other on the train. Bruno Anthony is obviously, if you haven't seen the movie, he's very, he's into alcohol way too much. And they get into a conversation, and it's obvious by listening to him from the beginning that he's been following, Guy Haynes' tennis career. To the point to where he knows the name of his wife. And Guy proceeds to tell him that him and his wife are having problems. And Bruno Anthony is trying to get him to say that he wants his wife murdered. Because he wants to exchange murders with him.
And Guy is also seeing this other lady.
Ann Morton. Yeah.
And Guy's wife also got knocked up by some dude.
Yeah, and she's
in
expecting
a biker bar.
Right, and she's expecting her husband to help her raise the child, even though the child clearly isn't his.
Mm-hmm.
So Guy Haynes is striking conversation up with him, and he wants to trying to get him to say that I want my wife murdered, and I'm willing to murder your father.
Mm-hmm.
Murder Bruno's father, which is kind of strange. Let me ask you a question. When he confronts his wife, Miriam, is she on the train with him? I forgot.
Remember he goes to see her.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And I believe her work, and there's this confrontation. He starts yelling at her. And then finally, I think it's her boss just comes in and is like, we don't allow that here. I was expecting the old guy to really go off on him, but he's just like, we don't do this here.
Yeah. So
that would not go the same way today if a man was just like going off on a
right.
chick.
Right, exactly. Would you chime in, please?
So Guy goes off after finding out that this pregnant lady is going to try to make him raise a kid and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And take him away from his true love because she's a bitch, like Missy Elliott said. Dun, dun,
go
dun,
on,
dun,
go
dun,
on with
dun,
the story.
Okay, all right. You don't like my little interludes, like
not really.
Why not?
It's distracting.
Oh, I believe she was inspired after watching this movie to write that song. I say that joke a lot. I need to stop with that one.
Yeah, you do. It's not that funny. Sorry, it isn't.
Was it funny the first time at least?
Not really.
Really?
No.
Why not?
Well, you said it about other people.
I know, but you said it wasn't funny the first time I said it.
This is the first time. Not good.
Okay, so it was funny up until this point.
It wasn't that funny.
It was funny.
It wasn't funny up until this point.
It was.
It wasn't funny.
Yes, it was.
Okay, go on.
Anyways, I don't know. That one made an interesting music video, right? You just have different scenes from actresses in movies as the song "She's a Bitch" plays. I don't know.
All right, you're losing track here.
In any event, Jaylo.
Yes.
I think her name is Miriam.
Yes.
Ends up going to this circus thing for the night. He's hanging out with friends.
It's a carnival.
Carnival.
Yes, carnival.
Shame, Jeff.
No, there was no animals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird for an adult lady to go to the carnival with her friends, but we're going to roll with that. Anthony.
I don't see any problem with that, but whatever.
Okay. Well, maybe if she was a slow adult, I could believe it.
Bubs.
But she was a slow adult.
Oh, come on,
because
Bub.
she wasn't fast enough to escape Anthony.
Bubs.
Sorry, that's a dumb joke, babes.
Ugh. You're not really good with your jokes this morning.
Oh. In any event.
You're off your R game.
Okay, what else? Were you off yesterday?
Okay.
Anthony sees her, follows her around, gets her separated from her friends, and then kills Miriam.
Yep.
Goes to tell Guy the good news and brings the glasses from Miriam.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
Guy's freaked out by this. He travels home, is with his girl. Her father's like a senator, I believe, or governor.
Yep.
And they're basically saying, listen, this is all going to get cleared up. You're going to be fine. But just hold, right? Just stay with it. On Guy's way home, he has this interesting conversation with a professor. They find the professor, who doesn't remember the conversation.
Right.
So now the police start tailing Guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's going about his life. And Bruno keeps following him.
He keeps calling him, too.
He's calling him, and he makes arrangements to keep running into him. And he's like, hey, I just want to know, when are you going to kill my dad? And make it all fair and square.
Right.
Eventually, Bruno Anthony gets invited to this party. Is it Bruno Anthony or Anthony Bruno?
Anthony. Bruno Anthony.
Anthony.
Yes.
Or Anthony.
It's Antony.
Anthony.
Without the H.
Gets invited to a party. that Guy's soon-to-be father-in-law's throwing.
Mr. Morton, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
And Anthony almost kills one of the guests.
Yeah, and he's trying to convince her that she wants her husband killed.
Yes.
And how she would do it.
Yes. Eventually, do you want to continue, babes?
Yeah, so so what I remember is that he almost kills this older lady. They are able to save her, and am I correct? Is that before he takes Guy's lighter?
No, he took Guy's lighter on the train.
Okay. Oh wait, was this before the merry-go-round scene?
What before the merry-go-round scene?
The party. Remember when it comes?
No, this way off. That
yes.
merry-go-round scene.
Yes,
of course.
Yes. That's where things start going to head. So this lady is almost killed. The younger sister Barbara Morton.
It's kind of weird.
She's kind of like obsessed with death or whatever it is. But she said, "Hey, that really freaked me out because when he was looking at the old lady, when he was
trying to choke the old lady,
he looked at me and I felt like he was trying to kill me."
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. At one point, Guy says, "Okay, I'm going to kill your dad. I'm going to do it tonight." And he goes over to the house to inform the father that his son is batshit crazy. Gets past his dog, goes into the room, says, "I want to talk about your son." Who turns on the light? Anthony. The dad is out of town, and Anthony just wanted to see what would happen because he's a weirdo.
He is a weirdo.
Anthony has a gun. He says, "I'm not going to kill you here, bro. I'm more creative than that."
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Guy goes to play in this tennis match. I believe he wins.
He does.
In the commotion, he escapes. The cops follow him to the circus.
Where the island where the carnival is at.
Carnival is at.
Yes.
Right. There is a commotion that goes on a merry-go-round.
Merry-go-round, yeah.
The machine is shot, so now it's going out of control. Cops stop it. It lands on Anthony, who dies with the lighter in his hand. That kind of proves that what's his name is innocent, and the movie ends. Yeah,
well, and I must mention that he tells Guy that he left his that Bruno left his lighter where he left it.
Yeah, he still tries to make it seem like, "Oh, you're responsible for this, bro."
And so now they find the lighter in his hand, and they're able to prove that he actually killed his Guy's wife.
I really enjoyed this movie. I'd give it a strong 7.
I did too. Absolutely.
Bruno Anthony is so crazy. Like, I could see in a different situation in real life this being like Mark David Chapman. You know,
I would, or some other obsessed person that is obsessed with any given celebrity.
By the way, as a side note, how is that guy still alive? Mark David Chapman.
I don't know. I think he should have been dead a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think New York State had the death penalty when he was sentenced.
No, he should have been on death row a long time ago.
He killed a beetle.
Yeah. Well, he killed... The point is that he killed somebody, period. Never mind that he was a beetle.
Yeah, I get it. It's a human life. But it was also John Lennon. He died.
Well.
I'm not trying to say that one life is more valuable than the other.
Okay, I'm just saying, just because he was a Beatle doesn't mean that he's better than anybody else.
Whose songs do we still think about? John Lennon's. The Beatles. Okay. The same babes.
Whatever.
Don't get too full of yourself there, Jaylo.
I'm not full of myself.
Okay. But Mark David Chapman should really be executed. But that's a story.
He should have been. Yeah, he should have been. Yes. Absolutely.
Unfortunately, he's still alive.
If he lived in Texas, for sure they would execute him.
I wish he could have been extradited to Texas, even though he had no connection there.
He had no connection there, or he should have been expedited to a state that was giving the death penalty besides Texas. But anyway.
That's a story for another time.
Moving
Jaylo.
on.
I don't appreciate you taking us there. But,
No, you did.
oh, it is. I still love you.
Don't blame it on me.
You know, can I tell you a real quick Mark David Chapman story? So I'm watching Larry King.
Mm-hmm.
This is on YouTube, not live.
Okay.
And I believe this was in 1990.
Oh, wow.
It's like the 10-year anniversary of John Lennon's death.
Mm-hmm.
So they bring on Mark David Chapman.
Crazy.
Yeah, he's a crazy guy. You can tell takes no accountability for anything that's ever happened in his own life.
Absolutely.
It's always everybody else that's against him.
Yeah.
So he goes on the Larry King show, and Larry King's asking him about that. He says, okay, John Lennon, I met him earlier in the day. He was very friendly to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he had a few fans who would hang out in front of the Dakota. It wasn't just me.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, there was this woman who hanged out there. And that night I asked her out on a date. And if she would have said yes, I would have been out on a date with her when John Lennon was supposed to be killed.
So he used that woman.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then Larry King says, so are you telling me that if this woman would have agreed to go on a date with you, you wouldn't have killed John Lennon? And he's like, well, I wouldn't have killed him that night. I mean, I probably would have done it the next night. I was like thinking,
okay, I had to laugh at that.
yes.
That's kind of funny, but no accountability, no remorse, no, like, I thought about it over the years and I really did a horrible thing. It's like, no, I'm innocent and I was justified in killing this beetle.
Just a useless human being.
Right.
Yes.
Who should be executed.
You should have been executed
a long time ago, like a month after.
At the very least, what they could do is they could lock him in a shell by himself and just play
shell?
A cell.
A cell, okay. Thank
by
you.
himself, yes. And just like blast in John Lennon songs 24/7 and interviews with people who loved him. And, you know, that's his only contact with the outside
That could be torture.
Yes.
Or maybe he would like that too much. I don't know. He was obsessed with John Lennon.
You know, I heard about Mark David Chapman, and I don't know if this is true or if this is one of those things that people like to say, that he was a weird kid who would play music and think that he was giving a concert for the people on the wall.
Oh, okay, that's weird.
But that I heard that on basic cable in the 90s, so who knows if they just said that to like make him seem more dramatic. But he was definitely a sick person.
He definitely is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He should have either been committed to a mental institution for the rest of his life or killed off.
I think killed off.
Killed off would probably be the best.
Yeah, you kill a beetle, you're done in my book.
Okay.
Yes.
No, you kill anyone.
Yeah, of
pretty
course,
much done.
Dave. I know.
The Beatles aren't better than anybody else, Bubs.
I know, but they made some...
They're just mere humans like we are.
who make incredible music.
All right.
Incredible music.
They shouldn't be put on a pedestal, though.
But they made incredible music.
Yes, they did make incredible music, but I'm not denying that. I just think that just because this guy was a Beatle, that doesn't make him better than anybody.
No, but come on. We lost out on some... We possibly lost out on some amazing songs. Right? You would agree on that?
Yes, I would.
How does it feel, babe, living in a time where there was the possibility that the Beatles could have reunited? Because by the time I was born, Lennon had already been killed.
Yeah, and I was just a few months old. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't think about it that much. But think about, you know, so many years later, how John Lennon would have, you know, if John Lennon were still here, and what kind of music would he make?
Yeah, I know you haven't seen it, but that movie Yesterday, it's about like if the Beatles never became famous, right?
Oh, wow.
What would the world be like? And there's this funny scene where he Googles the band Oasis, and there's nothing on the band. Because that was always the rap on them, was they were a Beatles ripoff group.
Oh, okay.
Which is... It's not completely true, but there is some truth to it.
Really? What do you mean?
If you listen, they are definitely heavily influenced by the Beatles, but they badmouth them a lot in interviews.
Wow.
And I think they're also from Liverpool.
Oh, wow.
But and they have the whole Beatles look in their early music videos.
Interesting. I didn't know they were from Liverpool.
I believe they're from Liverpool, yeah. But I remember where I was going. So the guy decides to steal all the Beatles songs because nobody's ever heard this in this world, right? Mm-hmm. And one day he gets to meet John Lennon because John Lennon was never famous, he was never killed by Mark David Chapman. Mm-hmm. And it's a really interesting, fun scene. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
Wow.
Anyways, babes.
Okay.
We didn't do this podcast so we could talk about yesterday.
Yeah.
Let's get back to talking about Strangers on the Train.
Strangers on a Train, yep.
What does Anthony Bruno teach us about the outside world?
As far as reality outside? What do you mean?
As far as outside of your social circle.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Okay, so let me see if I could give this some context. Before Guy meets Anthony,
Yeah.
things are not perfect. He's going through a divorce.
Yep.
But he's also in a relationship with a girl he loves.
Yeah.
He's considered somewhat of a celebrity.
Right.
We can assuming that he's doing all right financially.
Yes.
And then somebody new enters his bubble and completely disrupts things.
Majorly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what do you think Anthony teaches us about the outside world? If anything.
You just don't know who you're going to meet on a train. I don't know. It's there are psychopaths that are roaming this world, and one of them happened to be Bruno Anthony. And I really thought that his character was definitely a psychopath. The guy who played him was really good, though.
The acting in this movie is good.
It's very good, yeah. What did you think about Anne's younger sister? She's kind of odd.
I was going to ask about her. I think she'd be a lot of fun to talk to, but she is a bit strange.
I think she's lost all touch with reality.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, maybe not all touch, but she's definitely like out there. Mm-hmm. Like kind of obsessed with death. It seems like it.
Yes.
And that she was kind of bad-mouthing his ex-wife, too. I mean, she wasn't a perfect person, but...
No, but his ex-wife wasn't... Yeah. I mean, come on. She's kind of sadistic herself.
She is. I mean, she wanted to stay with him because she thought that, well, you know, since my husband has a good tennis career, he can buy me really pretty clothes.
No, we are led to believe...
Right?
We are led to believe that she was the one who pushed for the divorce because she started cheating on him first. And that the only reason she wants to stay with him now is because he's come around to the idea of the divorce. And he's moved on with her life. And she was, we're assuming, dumped by somebody.
Oh, so I didn't even catch that.
That's the assumption.
You're assuming it.
Based on what I saw in the movie, yes.
Okay.
And we do know that she's been asking for a divorce for a year because it's said in the movie.
Right. Okay. You're right. Yeah. But I did not catch on to that, the rest of what you said. But yeah, Barbara was a little bit strange.
I like her though.
Yeah.
Okay. What does Miriam teach us about being sadistic and not letting people move on?
Some women are like that. Mm-hmm. You know, men are like that, of course, you hear about that, but some women are just as sadistic or if not more sadistic in some ways. They can use their feminine wiles to get a man to do whatever they want him to do in some cases.
What can we learn from Miriam about karma?
Well, you know the saying, right? What goes around comes around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways that may be some truth to it. Yeah. I guess to say that, people are watching you. What you do, what you say, how you act. Especially when it comes to treating people. And unfortunately, even though she may not have known it, it ended up killing her.
Do you think she got what she deserved?
I don't know that she got what she deserved, because even though she was a sadistic person, I think that the divorce would have been the better thing to do, because they ended up not divorcing, or they were in the middle of that.
But she was the one who called it off.
Right. I don't know that killing her would have solved anything.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, not only did they kill her, but they killed her child.
Yes.
So, I don't know that would have solved anything. Maybe she should have been admitted to a psych ward or whatever.
Why do you think Anthony chose Guy to make this imaginary pact with? Do you think it was because he was famous? Or is it that it was just a weird day and Guy was the first person he really talked to?
I think he was literally obsessed with Guy. I mean, did you catch that when he was talking to him, he knew all these different facts about him?
That's true.
I think he was obsessed.
So it had to do with his fame?
Yes, absolutely. I think he wasn't just obsessed with fame, but he was obsessed with Guy Haynes, a celebrity.
What can we learn from Guy about not forgetting who you are? What I'm thinking about, there's a few ways this comes up. He wants a divorce from Miriam because he's changed his mind about that, right? But like after she dies, he tries to do the right thing, but he's not sure how to get Anthony out of his life.
The way, yeah.
And he only agrees to kill the dad because he wants to rat on Anthony.
Right.
It doesn't work out that way.
Yeah.
But he's planning to do the right thing to the best of his abilities.
Right. I didn't think he was going to kill Bruno's dad. I think that had he had an opportunity to talk to him, he would have said, "Look, your son's crazy."
Well, we can believe that's true because it seems like that from the film. But what I'm asking you is, I guess maybe I should rephrase the question. Does Guy have a moral code? And what does he, if so, what does he say about sticking with that code?
Well, I think that he understands that just because he's divorcing his wife, that doesn't make it right for anybody to kill her. And he didn't want to kill her. He just wanted to get away from her. He wanted to divorce her. But she just wouldn't let him. So, I think that knowing that it's wrong to kill anybody in cold blood, for no reason at all, he wanted to make sure that didn't happen.
This film came out in 1951, about 70 years ago. Is any character from this movie still alive?
I don't know that they are.
What happened to these people?
They might have died in the over the years because they were older.
But what happened to Guy and his girl? Did they get married? Did this ruin their relationship?
I don't think it. Well, so I don't think it does ruin their relationship. It may actually have brought them closer.
I could see that.
I think that they really were a good couple together. I don't think this broke their relationship apart. I think that it just drew them closer together, especially because Barbara felt so threatened by Anthony, and now that they were a part of this time to get Anthony, and I think that may have brought him even more closer to the Morton family, because Anthony tried to frame him as being responsible for the murdering of his ex-wife, and then that turned out not to be true. So,
is there anything else you want to say about this movie?
No.
But you would recommend it to people?
Yes. Now, the next one I did not get in partially because I was really tired, but you didn't get it either.
No. Oh, one last question.
Yes.
About Strangers on a Train. Is Miriam in heaven?
I can't answer that.
But if you had to speculate.
I don't know.
And you don't want to speculate.
No, because I can't answer that.
Okay.
She may not be.
Maybe she's threatening Tupac with a divorce up there. I don't know.
Oh, jeez. Bad joke. Your jokes are not that great this morning, bud.
I don't know. I think it's the audience that is the real issue.
No, I think it's
I will grant you this. I have it's a bit overkill with the she's a bitch joke. I played that joke out, but it was funny when I started doing that joke.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think it was.
Really?
Yes, and I think you know it was okay.
I know it was.
Oh my goodness, you just squeezed my nose.
I did. I did.
Now, let's talk about our next film.
Yes.
Which is called Sabotage.
I didn't understand it.
I didn't either. I mean, I'm a blind guy, so maybe that's part of it.
I mean, and partly because I wasn't quite awake. I was really exhausted, and there were times where I was trying to stay awake, and I'm like, are you following this?
Yeah, and it was partly for me because I was hearing snoring throughout the film.
Hey!
And I don't think it came from the...
Hey!
What?
Go on with the movie. Never mind what sounds I made and what sounds I didn't make, okay?
Okay.
Trying to rat on me, Bubs.
Oh, what else? The movie starts out, there's some type of show that people can't go in to see because of a power outage. This lady goes up, talks to the man in charge, and he says, okay, give them all their money back. I'm getting some more cash later this week.
Yes.
What? Yes. This is 1936, by the way, in London.
London. Yes.
She goes back. She's like, hey, y'all, you're getting a refund. Some other dude... What are you doing?
Oh, I was tapping on my,
Okay.
Yes.
Some other guy was convinced the crowd that, they didn't need their money back. But she's like, no, we're going to refund all of you because you're like family to us. And whatnot. Mm-hmm. Then some other stuff happens. There's a kid who seems like a nice kid. He goes out to this restaurant called Simpson's.
Yes.
With a guy who tried to convince everybody that they didn't need a refund.
Mm-hmm.
And he buys lunch for the kid and his mom. Some other places get bombed. The kid is given a package to deliver. He's on a bus. The thing explodes. It kills him and a whole bunch of other people.
Right.
Now the mom sees the kid wherever she goes.
Yeah.
And some other stuff happens and it ends.
It was weird. I did not get it. And then there was that one scene where this guy that had this, was it a zoo or something or an aquarium?
Oh, they go to an aquarium at one point, and then this guy sold animals, and he
had like a
birds.
He had these canaries in a cage, and he would whistle, and then they would start singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of cool. But I didn't get it. I didn't even know what Sabotage was.
Yeah, it's possible we're out of it, but it just seemed like a bizarre movie.
It was really bizarre. Yeah.
I didn't hate it, though.
I would give it maybe a 6.5.
Yeah, I think what I'm realizing is I like Alfred Hitchcock movies that from the 40s more than the 30s. I think he needed time to grow into the filmmaker that we love today, because this movie was from 36.
Yeah, I think we should maybe find something in the 40s tonight. But I would give it a 6.5. I think when you watch it, you have to make sure that you're following, because we really couldn't follow this. Even if we were awake, it was like, I don't get it.
I would agree. And we can't really do character analysis on the film that we don't understand.
No. Just as much as we couldn't do that in The Public Enemy and another one that we watched the other day.
Yes. But I didn't hate it. I liked some of the scenes, but I just couldn't follow it.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Jaylo.
Yes.
I'm assuming you would not recommend Sabotage to people.
No. I mean, you can watch it. You just have to really follow it. And yeah, it's an obscure movie. It's just...
I've heard about it before.
Yeah. It's not his best.
No.
But
it didn't completely suck either.
No, it wasn't. I just think it's less than a 7, though.
Yeah, like the 10-year-old, is he like 10 or 12? The kid in this movie, he's good.
Yeah,
he's
very
good in the
yeah.
movie. And the acting is pretty good all around, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
It is. And then he made the statement that she didn't just see her kid, right? But she saw other people.
I believe so.
Yeah, but I mean, we were kind of having an off evening.
Yeah, and again, it had to do with a lot of different things.
It did.
Yes.
I think tiredness was the biggest one.
I would agree, babes.
But yeah, I mean, you can watch it, just make sure you follow it intently.
Jaylo.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? Did you have any dreams last night?
I did not.
Oh.
I woke up a little bit and then I went, I don't know what time it was when I went back to sleep, but when I did, I slept pretty good.
Nice. Oh, so you were awake when I was unconscious then?
For a while, and then I finally drifted off.
Did
again.
you do anything to me when you were...
No.
Okay.
Why would you ask me that question?
I was just curious, babe. And who could blame you, really?
Oh.
I mean, I sure couldn't blame you. You know, assuming it was something funny.
Not funny,
that I
Bubs.
would enjoy.
Not funny joke.
Pants were unbuckled.
Bubs!
I was saying they were buckled when I went to bed, and then... That was a joke.
I know, it wasn't that funny.
Thank you. Yes, it was.
You repeated it way too many times.
No, did I?
Oh, yeah.
No, I think this is the first time I said that joke.
Well, you always ask me something like if you're taking a nap or something, and I'm awake, or whatever it is.
Well, I just want to make sure.
No, I didn't do anything.
Okay.
No.
Do you think
Yes.
that God will be upset with you that you had the opportunity to be with unconscious Rick and you didn't take it?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to double check on that with you.
Oh.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I cannot believe that, in 6 days there's going to be a special day for me, and it's very strange. Just because of how weird it was last year.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get to see you last year, and I got calls from people, but I didn't get to see a lot of people at all. I mean, the people that I was with were my roommates, and even then, we were isolating ourselves from each other, which is really strange.
Yeah.
And, I would have loved to have seen you that day, and it just didn't work out.
And we thought we were until a couple of days before.
Yeah. Yeah, but it just didn't work out, but I'm glad that this year it will.
Yeah, good, Jaylo.
And I've been thinking about cakes that I wanted to have because I didn't get to have one last year. And I like birthday cake.
Yeah, babes.
Yes.
Well, if there's nothing else you want to talk about,
Yes.
maybe we should kiss and,
And yeah, get some things taken care of.
Yeah.
Business like.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway. Yes.
All right, Jaylo.
Okay.
You sure? Nothing else to say?
No.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.